KO. Ooh, nice. That looks like a new nick. Good taste. There is a problem with Death Note though, that it's just so much better than all other anime that it just makes it all look bad. Okay, now don't worry about what you see on the screen now, guys, because it's all going to disappear just now, and we're going to recover like the most basic stuff. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Works for me. Oh wait, there might be some problem with there not being a main or something, but I don't know, because it won't have anything to run. Okay, so don't worry about what you were just seeing on the screen. It was just because someone was asking a question. Today we're just going to revise the most basic concepts of Chapter 1 for the first hour, and then in the second hour I'm going to be giving you a little online assessment. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but don't rush it, okay? Can other people hear? If other people can hear and you're lagging, then it's your internet connection, hey? Like, I can't fix your internet. Okay, cool. So other people can hear. You must move to... Yeah, it's your internet. So you must... I don't know, I can't fix your internet, right? So... Ooh, let's see. Yeah, okay, so there's no main method, so it can't run anything. But when we do it, we'll create a main method, obviously. Anyway, okay, going back to what we had here. Okay, cool. So standard .NET Fiddle. Okay, so we're going to revise. I got an extreme amount of lag. It's because your internet is slow. I don't know. Get a new service provider maybe. So, yeah. Okay. So we're going to be revising in this first hour. The second hour, you're going to be given this test. Well, I think that a lot of students underestimate it because it's multiple choice. Okay. So because it's multiple choice, you might think that you can rush through it and that it will go fast. But do not underestimate the test just because it's multiple choice. Okay, take your time, read the questions carefully. Don't worry about doing some working out and writing out. Okay. Okay, that's good. If you watched the last one, then you should be somewhat prepared for this test anyway. Okay, but let's start with that revision. All right. So one of the primary problems, I think, is a misunderstanding of operators. Okay, because we haven't gone through every single operator step by step and thought about like what all of them do. Okay, so can you resend the last? Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put all of the videos on YouTube from now on, and I'll put them into a playlist. Okay guys, so we're on page 10 of your textbook. Please concentrate through this because it'll be this will come up a lot. Okay, for the individual schools, or yeah, each school will have their own playlist. Yeah. No textbook gang. Okay. All right. So we're on page 10, and there's just a table of operators there. You don't need the textbook to follow along. But maybe if you want to make notes down somewhere, it might be useful to have. Okay, so there are a bunch of operators in C#, and what do I mean by operator? I mean basically just a character that takes different arguments, we call them. So the plus sign is an operator, the minus sign is an operator, an asterisk is an operator, dash is an operator. One that you'll be familiar with from our if statements is less than, that's an operator, greater than is an operator, the equal sign is an operator, the equals sign is an operator. There's a whole bunch of operators, okay, and they all have different meaning, but it's not difficult to remember them, okay. Once you've got the meaning once, they're very easy to understand. We've been through this, haven't we? Okay, so cool. So let's think about these. So if we take int x equals 3, okay. So let's start by analyzing the most simple operators. Okay, so these would be plus, minus, asterisk, and dash. Okay, so this is a plus sign is for adding two numbers together, minus sign for subtracting numbers, asterisk for multiplying numbers, and slash for dividing numbers. So what do you do when you get the red cross on the side? Oh, don't worry, it's showing you that you have an error, so you just have to fix the error, and you must just read. If you mouse over it, it'll tell you what the error is, and you just have to fix that. Sometimes .NET Fiddle takes a while to recognize that you have fixed the code though. Okay, but if you follow through with the examples, it should always run when you run. Okay, so cool. So we're going to go through what these four operators do. Hopefully they're not going to be particularly difficult. Equals means equals. Yeah. Okay, let's focus. Okay, so actually this brings us to a good place for our first operator. Okay, actually, so we'll also put an equal sign in front here. Okay, so these are the first 5 operators we're going to look at. It means are they equal? Are they equal? But we are going to get to that equals operator. Okay, we're considering these 5. We're considering these 5 now. Okay. We're considering these 5 operators: equals, plus, minus, times, and slash. Okay, so we've got int x equals 3. Okay, currently the only operator we're using here is this equals sign. Okay, one equals sign. So just this equal sign means take the thing on the right and save it in the thing on the left. Okay, the thing on the left has to be a variable. Alright, thing on the left has to be a variable. So all this is saying is create a variable and make its value 3. Hopefully we're super familiar with this by now. And what we're going to be looking at is how the different operators affect x. Okay, so if I print out x currently, as we expect, it's just going to print out 3. Okay, because we've just set x's value to 3 and we haven't changed it at all. Alright, another way to do this, so it means the exact same thing. On the first line I can create the variable x, and on the second line I can say x equals 3. Okay, on the second line I can say x equals 3. So this means the same thing. Okay, so I created a variable x, and on the next line I save 3 in the variable x. You're welcome to follow along with me, but really just try to understand, okay, what all of them are doing. So Dappe, if you want to, if your internet is totally unmanageable, obviously we can't do anything about that. But you can watch the videos, okay. You can watch the videos afterwards if it's unmanageable. And then if you have questions during those videos, you can put them in the comment section or something like that. But if your internet is really bad, there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry. So so we've got this variable, we create the variable, we take the thing on the right, and we save it in the thing on the left. Okay, so no, Are you going to share the link for the on the WhatsApp group? Yeah, as I've always shared the links, same every week. Okay, so int x equals 3. Okay, cool. So x equals 3. Okay, so this is okay. So this is just what the equals operator does. Takes the thing on the right, saves it in the thing on the left. Okay, now let's examine some other operators now. Okay, so we're going to start with the most simple one. Okay, so x's value is currently 3. What if I say x equals x plus 6? What's that? Okay. So if we say int x equals 3, so x's value is initially 3, and we say x equals x plus 6, then we get 9. Okay, quite simple. So it just takes the variable here, 3, and it just adds 6 to it. Okay, very simple operator. So this like the equals operator, so the equals operator takes 2 arguments, we could say, right? The thing on the left, the place we want to save the thing in, and the thing on the right, the thing we want to save there. Okay, so here we wanted to save in x, we wanted to save 3. Okay, so here we're also using the equals operator, and you can see again it has two arguments, right? The thing where we want to save in, and the thing we're saving. So we're saving x plus 6, and we're saving it in x. Okay. Yeah, if you put a const in front of the variable, it wouldn't allow you to run this. It wouldn't allow you to change the variable. Can I have your number? It's for future communication, and I have. I'm on the WhatsApp group, so you can get my contact there. Okay, so x equals x plus 6. All right. So, and we have another operator here. So before we only had the equals operator, now we've got the plus sign operator. Okay, and this also takes 2 arguments. It just says take the thing on the left and add it to the thing on the right. Okay, very simple. All right. Hopefully we don't have to talk too much about how the plus sign works. It's pretty intuitive. If you've ever used a calculator, it's identical to this. Okay, so here I've done x equals x plus 6. So this x is initially 3, right? So this becomes 3 plus 6, so we get 9 in x. And then we say x equals x plus 3. So it was 9, so now x will be 12. Okay, so it's just exactly how you'd expect a plus sign to work. All right. Let's talk about minus now. Okay, so yeah. So minus, okay, so x minus 2, all right. For example, so here we said int x equals 3, so x became 3. X equals x minus 2, so x becomes 3 minus 2, okay, which is 1. All right, and if we said minus 3, it would be 0. If we said minus whatever, 10, it will become minus 7, right? Okay. Very simple. So we know how plus and minus work, and similarly to a calculator, asterisk and slash are the same. Okay, these are just your mathematical operators. Okay, so if we say x divided by 3, okay, so slash 3, then we get 1. Alright, because this was, we created a variable, its value was x, then we divided that, its value was 3, sorry, we divided its value by 3 and we saved it back in x, so x became 1. Alright, and you could also use 2 different variables, right? I could say int y, so I'm creating another variable. I had x and its value was 3, and now I create y and I make y x divided by 3, and when I print out y it will be 1. But you'll see we never changed the value of x this time, right? So x will still be 3. Okay. So these are the super basic operators. We could also say x times 3, right? So this will be 3 times 3. So now x's value is still 3, right? But if I print out y, its value will be 9. Okay. Does everyone get this? These basic operators, they work the same as on your calculator. What divide is slash, right? Slash. Cool. Okay, that's good. So this, cool. So that's the basics of operators. So we can change the value of a variable. All right, we can change the value of a variable. Perhaps we, yeah, okay, cool. So hopefully that's good. Cool. Great. Okay, so int x equals 3, int y equals x times 3, console.writeLine y. Yeah, so nice. Okay, cool. I understand much better. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you see, so I was worried because I think maybe I started out assuming too much knowledge, probably. Cool. But I'm glad that you guys understand much better. Okay, so cool. So these are our basic operators, okay? We've got plus, minus, times, and slash. Okay, so these are, they mean the same thing as in maths, it's just that asterisk is multiply and slash is divide. Okay, and slash is divide. And equals, yeah, equals takes the thing on the left and saves in it the thing on the right. Okay, saves the thing on the right into the thing on the left. Okay, so these are very simple operators, and hopefully we understand how to work with them now. Okay, so now, guys, what you should be able to do, if I give you this first line here, int x equals 3, and I ask you int y equals x times 3, and I say, what is the value of y when this code is finished, you should be able to answer that question, okay? Now, there's one other little trick here that we didn't discuss. Okay, so what if, so here we've got x is 3, right? And we say x times 3 saves into y, so y is 9 at the end of this. What if I say 2 plus x times 3? Okay. So what I'm showing you here, you guys will know it from maths. You've heard of BODMAS, right? BODMAS. Brackets of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So we go in order, right? We do division first, then multiplication, then addition, then subtraction. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter if you do division or multiplication first, but just follow that rule. Okay, do division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Okay, so if we look at this, you would think maybe C# gets confused here, right? If C# reads from left to right, then it will go 2 plus x, x is 3, right? So it would say 5 times 3, and then it would get 15. Okay, 15 would be wrong though. Right? What it should do is ideally go x times 3 first, so do the multiplication first, so 3 times 3, get 9, and then add the 2, okay, to get 11. But you can see C# does do 11, okay? So important thing to remember, C# does know BODMAS, okay? It knows BODMAS, and it uses it. So it will do division first, then multiplication, then addition, then subtraction. Okay, so you must do that too. When you, yeah, it's clever. So you must also in C# remember that it uses BODMAS. It's not going to go left to right. Okay, cool. So that's important. Hopefully now we all understand the mathematical operators. And they work the same, exactly the same on your computer. Okay, and in Excel and in all of these other things. Okay, so we've got slash for division, asterisk for multiplication, plus and minus signs. Okay, so those are our basic operators and the equal sign, obviously. Okay, so now let's try some more complicated operators. Okay, so we've got our 5 basic mathematical operators. Slash is division. Slash is division. So if I say that's division. So if we say int x equals 9, okay, int y equals x slash 3, okay, so we create x with a value of 9, then we say, okay, y is x, which was 9, divided by 3, and then print out console.writeLine y, it will be 3. Okay, it's 3. See. So slash is division. Equals, one equal sign is thing on the left holds the thing on the right. So the thing on the right is saved into the thing on the left. That's what one equal sign does. We haven't discussed 2 equal signs yet. We're going to get to that. Okay. So everyone's comfortable with just those 5 operators. Equal, plus, minus, slash, and asterisk. Okay? Plus, minus, divide, multiply. Okay, so those are the first ones. Okay, now let's discuss what we will call, we can call them decision operators or Boolean operators. Okay, and so if you know those basic mathematical operators and the ones I'm about to show you now, then you're good. Okay, these are the ones you'll be tested on. All right, so in these operators we have the less than sign, okay, the less than sign, the greater than sign, okay, we also have a less than sign followed by an equal to sign, so that means less than or equal to, and we also have greater than followed by an equal sign, so greater than or equal to, okay. We also have equals equals and not exclamation point equals, not equals. Okay, so what do these do? Okay, let's explore this a bit. So in order to explore this, I'm going to create 2 variables. So int number 1. Okay, so int number 1, and we'll make this one 10. Okay, and I'll create int number 2. And we'll make this 120. Okay, so now let's without using operators discuss what we can see what we can decide about these 2 numbers. Okay, so number 2's value is 20 and number 1's value is 10. So we can double check. So let's go console.writeLine number 1. Okay, this is 10. If I print out number 2 instead, this is 20. Okay, so C# is doing what we expect it to do here, right? It's just created these 2 variables and they have values. Okay. Now, let's think about the decisions we can make about these 2 numbers. Okay. Okay, let's discuss what we can decide about these 2 numbers. Okay, so we know number 1, 10, is less than number 2, right? Which is 20. Okay. We know that number 2 is greater than number 1. Okay. Number 2 is greater than number 1. Number 2 is 20, number 1 is 10. 20 is greater than 10. Okay. Likewise, we know number 1 is less than or equal to number 2, right? Less than or equal to. The or equal to doesn't change it there, right? It's still less than or equal to. And likewise, number 2 is greater than or equal to number 1. Okay. We also know that they are not equal to each other. Okay, this might seem quite simple to you guys now, but the reason why I'm going through this is because for all of these little decisions that we've made, what I want you to notice is that there are always 2 possibilities. Okay, so number 1 is either less than number 2 or it is not less than number 2. Okay, there is no middle ground. Okay, there's no gray area. It's either true or false. Okay, and these operators allow us to distinguish between those true or false statements. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to print out. So here I've got these operators are applied the same way as our previous operators. So if you look, if you remember what we were doing earlier, we would say something like number 1 plus number 2, right? One thing on the left, the other thing on the right. Okay, these work the exact same way. It's just that they produce something different, right? If I use the plus sign, if I say x plus 3, what it will produce is the value of x, whatever that was, plus the number 3, right? If I said x plus y, it would have produced the value of x plus the value of y, whatever they were, and it would just add them together. Okay, these will only produce one of those two possibilities. Remember, we said with each of these distinctions, it's just warning me that we haven't used the variable. Okay, if you mouse over it, the variable number 2 is assigned, but its value is never used. So you see, because currently I've got number 1 here, so there's no yellow line under number 1 because I'm using number 1. If I change that to number 2, then number 1 is underlined because number 1 is never used. Yeah, exactly. It's just telling you how to tidy up the code. Okay, anyway, so we've got these two variables, right? These operators will only return true or false. They're just allowing us to decide between these different outcomes. Okay, so if I say number 1 less than number 2, okay, so I mean, we can double check that all our other operators work this way as well. So let me say number 1 plus number 2. We would want this to give back 30, right? And you can see it prints 30. Okay, so that's cool. If we say number 1 minus number 2, this should give us minus 10, right? And it does. It gives us minus 10. If we say number 2 divided by number 1, okay, slash number 1, this should give us 2, right? And it does. It gives us 2. If we say number 2 times number 1, okay, 20 times 10, this should give us 200, right? And it does. It gives us 200. Okay, so all our other operators also work in this context. Don't say equals, obviously, because equals wouldn't make sense in this context because it doesn't return something. But let's say number 2 less than number 1. Okay, so we've tried those other operators that we know. We're just going to try number 2 less than number 1. Okay, just to see what this returns. So remember what I said. All of these questions have two possible answers, right? It can either be true or it can be false. Okay, so for example, number 2, which is 20, less than number 1, which is 10. So think of this as me asking the question. Okay, so we're saying number 2 less than number 1. Alright, 20 less than 10. That is false, right? The answer to the question is no. 20 is not less than 10. So when I click run, it prints out false. Okay, false. That's all this operator does. So if the thing on the left is less than the thing on the right, then this operator will print true. If the thing on the left is greater than the thing on the right, then this operator will produce false. Okay, so let's switch them around. Number 1 less than number 2. Okay, now I would want this to say true. When I run this, it says true. Okay, so that's all that operator does. So you're comfortable with that first one, the less than sign. Okay, so it can produce one of two possible things. It's either going to say true or it's going to say false. Okay, we did discuss this broadly early on in the course, like the first lesson and the second lesson, but just double checking. We're going over every single operator now. Okay, cool. Yeah, it is. Yeah, calculators use all of this. We might make a calculator later on in the course. Probably be a good exercise, actually. Okay, so we've got this operator. All right, not too complicated. Okay. So let's try another operator. Okay, the greater than sign. Hopefully by now you guys won't be... Do calculators calculate in C#? Not all of them. You can program your calculator in anything you like. So like a calculator on an Android phone is going to be programmed in Java. Okay. Anyway, so we've got thing on the left, thing on the right with this sign now. Okay. Which we can call the greater than sign, but just note, I mean, even think about it how you thought about it long ago, right? It's a crocodile. It's going to eat the larger number. Okay? All this is saying is, if the thing on the left is greater than the thing on the right, then it will return true, and otherwise it will return false. Okay? So if I say 10 greater than, so left hand, number 2, okay? 10 greater than 20, this will return false, and we can see it prints false. Okay, if I switch these around again, so if I make this 20 greater than number 1, okay, so 20 greater than 10, this will now return true. Okay, very simple, very, very simple. Okay, let's make number 1 equal to 20 now. Okay, so we've got two variables, both of their values are 20. Okay, if I say console.writeLine number 2 20 greater than 20, what should we get, right? So 20 is not greater than 20, right? It's equal to 20. So 20 is not greater than 20, so this will return false. Okay. Likewise, if I switch it around, 20 less than 20, no, 20 is not less than 20. It still returns false. Okay? And this is why we have these two other operators, right? So if we want it to be less than or equal to, then we can use one of these arrow signs followed by an equal sign. Okay? So number 2, 20, less than or equal to number 1, which is also 20. It is less than or equal to. Okay, so it returns true. Now, if I change 20 to if I change number 2 to anything less than 20, or if it stays 20, this will always return true. Okay, so I can change it to 9, and it'll still be true. Can change it to 8, and it'll still be true. Okay. If I change it to 21, 21 less than or equal to 20, then the answer to our question is no, it's false. Okay, so hopefully we understand these first 4 operators. Yeah, just do it that way. Yeah, equal sign second. Yeah. So I mean, we can double check. I think it'll probably still work. Okay, no. Yeah. Okay, equal sign must always be second. Yeah. Okay. Good question though. Cool. So now let's examine the last 2 here. Okay, and these are the last 2 operators we really need to know, and we're going to talk about like one other one, just and the rest we'll save for another time. Okay, so we've got the equals sign. Okay, all this is saying is if the thing on the left is the same, and like when C# says the same, it means exactly the same, right? Down to the data type. Okay, so the thing on the left is the same as the thing on the right. Okay, they have the same value, they're of the same type, then this will return true. Okay, it'll let's check. I think it'll break, so it'll just break entirely, but we can see. Interesting. It still runs. Okay, so that's an interesting little mind game, but let's not consider that. Okay, that you'll never be tested on that. Okay, but okay, so even if it's a double, apparently in C#'s mind 20.0 is the same as 20. I don't think other programming languages will apply that standard, but let's not worry about that. C# decided that that is the case. Okay. Anyway, so 20 and 20, they're the same. Okay, so equals equals will return true. Okay. One thing to note, this will not work for all data types. Okay, some things are slightly more complicated. Okay, some things are slightly more complicated. Strings, you probably shouldn't be comparing like this. Okay, here it works, but if you save strings in variables, you shouldn't compare them like this. There are other ways to do it. Okay, so these ones, think just like less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, they'll only really work for numbers. As far as you're concerned, just pretend it will work in some of the contexts, but in terms of best practices, you shouldn't use equals equals and not equals for strings or chars or anything. You can use them for chars. Don't use them for strings. Okay, it's bad practice. You'll use something like, they'll have string compared to, never mind. Just don't worry about it yet, but it's for numbers. Okay, equals equals and not equals to, is the number on the left, double, floats, int, whatever, equal to the number on the right. Okay, that's what we're comparing here. So, in this case, number 1 its value is 20, number 2's value is 20, so we can say number 1 equals equals number 2, and it will return true. Okay, if I change number 2's value, then it will return false. Okay, so if the thing on the left is the same as the thing on the right, equals equals will return true. That's all it does. Okay, not equals is just the exact opposite of this. Okay, so if I say number 1 is 20 and number 2 is 20, and then I say 20 not equal to 20, number 1 not equal to number 2, this will return false, right? Because 20 is equal to 20. Okay, if I make this 9 instead, so 20 not equal to 9, this will return true. Okay, and those are the primary operators that I want you guys to know. There's 2 other ones that are just tricks. Okay, that are just tricks that we'll go through now. Okay, but notice all of these operators, they're very similar. Okay, they all take 2 arguments. There's something on the left, and there's something on the right, and then something happens. Okay, and you just have to remember what exactly is happening. If it's a plus sign, then you add the thing on the left to the thing on the right. Okay, if it's an equals sign, then you save the thing on the right into the thing on the left. All right. If it's a minus sign, you subtract the thing on the right from the thing on the left. Okay, asterisks, multiply them together. Slash, divide the thing on the left by the thing on the right. Okay, all of these you should be totally comfortable with. Greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, equals equals, and not equals. You know they're all going to return true or false, and you just have to figure out whether it's true or false at this moment. Okay, that's all you have to figure out. Alright, so those are the basic operators. Sorry we didn't go through them in detail like this earlier on in the course. Remember, it's my first year doing this too. I didn't know what knowledge I could, come into the course assuming. Okay, but those are the basic operators. Now hopefully you can retroactively throw what you've learned now before everything else that I've taught you, and maybe it'll all make more sense. Okay, but don't worry, we'll be doing lots of revision and backtracking. Okay, so anyway, so now we're going to discuss these 2 other fancy operators that are just tricks. Okay, they're just tricks. So you have seen them before. Okay, you have seen them before. So if I say these 2 fancy operators are question mark, colon. Okay, you saw this last week. This is called the ternary operator. Okay, so it takes 3 arguments. Okay, so you've seen all of the other operators we've looked at today take 2, right? The thing on the left, the thing on the right. The ternary operator takes 3. Okay, it takes 3 arguments. The thing before the question mark, the thing between the question mark and the colon, and something after the colon. Okay, 3 arguments. Now there's also an operator that you've seen that takes 1 argument. And we're going to discuss that one first. It's plus plus. Okay, plus plus, 2 plus signs. This takes 1 argument. Okay, that argument can either be on the left or on the right. Okay, but let's examine this. Okay. Actually, one nice way of doing this might be... Okay, so we're going to discuss the plus plus operator first. Okay, we're ignoring the ternary operator for now. So we have int number 1 equals, let me pick a nicer number. Instead of 20, I'm going to use 10. Okay, int number 1 equals 10. Hopefully by now you guys deeply understand what that line is doing. Okay, it's creating a variable of type int, and it's taking the thing on the right of the equals sign, the 10, and saving it into that variable. Okay, if I print out number 1 plus 1, okay, number 1 plus 1, okay, this prints out 11, okay, as we would expect. Let me see if C# will allow me to do this, because it might be quite cool to show it this way. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, so anyway, number 1 plus 1. Okay, so what is this doing? We're using the plus sign operator, right? It takes the thing on the left, okay, and it just adds 1 to it. Okay, we can do this on an earlier line to make it a bit neater. Okay, so let me do it this way. Let me say int number 1 equals number, oh wait, we've already created it, so I'm going to say number 1 equals number 1 plus 1. Okay, now when I print out number 1, did I spell it wrong or something? What are you complaining around? It does not exist in the current context. Oh, number 1, there we go. Okay, so we've got, let me just, yeah, we'll leave it as number 1. Okay, so int number 1 equals 10. Okay, we know what that's doing. Number 1 equals, okay, so it sees the equal sign. It's going to take the thing on the right and save it in the thing on the left. Number 1, which is 10, plus 1, so 11. Okay, and it saves that in number 1. So it overwrites it, right? Exactly how when you're saving documents or whatever, it's overwriting the value of number 1 to be the thing on the right. Okay, so it becomes 11, and then we print it out, right? And it's 11, as we expect. Okay, you guys have seen that there is a faster way of writing this line, right? Yeah. Or probably just after. We'll take a little break before. It'll only take you guys like 45 minutes to finish, but we'll only be going through the test next week anyway, so if you want to take longer to write, you can. It's not a problem. Remember, the test doesn't count for marks, so there's no incentive for you guys to cheat or anything. It's just to gauge exactly what you guys are struggling on. Okay, that's why we're writing the test. So it's only on chapter 1's material, not only on this. Okay, it's only on chapter 1's material. Okay, so okay, int number 1 equals 10, number 1 equals number 1 plus 1. We understand what this line is doing. You guys have seen there is a faster way of writing this, right? And it has to do with this special operator. So what this operator does is you give it an argument and you say plus plus, or you say plus plus and you give it an argument. So the argument can be either on the left, so our arguments plus plus, or it can be on the right. Okay, plus plus arguments. Okay, and all we're going to discuss is when you put this on the right, what happens, and when you put it on the left, what happens. Okay, so if I do this, if I say number 1 plus plus, okay, so this is different from the other operators we've seen, right? It only takes 1 argument. Previously we had something on the left and on the right. Now we've just got this number 1, okay, and it's just on the left. Okay, what will this do? Hopefully you guys know by now, all this does basically is say number 1 equals number 1 plus 1. Okay, so it adds 1 to number 1. So this still prints out 11. It still prints out 11. Okay. Likewise, with this argument, I could put this in front, right? So I could say plus plus number 1. Okay, so this operator can go in the front of the arguments as well. But it only has one argument. Okay, and it's either on the left or on the right. Okay, plus plus number 1. Okay. Now you might be wondering, okay, well, why do they have 2 arguments here? I mean, in a way, why can this operator have the arguments on the left or the right? Sorry, I didn't mean why do they have 2 arguments here. I mean, why can I put the arguments on the left or the right? Okay, surely they must be doing something different, and you would be right. They are doing something different. Okay, so hopefully you understand the plus plus is just adding 1 to this number. Okay, but the question we're discussing is why can the plus plus be on the left or on the right? Okay, so these 2 things do something different, and we just want to understand what the difference between them is. Okay, so in order to understand the difference, I'm just going to explain it in words and then we'll see it. Okay, the difference lies in when we return number 1. Okay, so I'm going to explain it like this. When we do this, you can think of the arguments. The arguments in this case is number 1, but it could be any variable. It doesn't matter. Okay, well, any number, right? Any int. Okay. You can think of it as the argument kind of has two states. Okay. You have the argument before 1 has been added. Okay. So here we've got int number 1 equals 10. Okay. So the value of number 1 is 10. Okay. When we add 1 to 10, right? There is when we add 1 to number 1. Okay, there is a time before we add 1 where number 1's value is 10, okay, before we've overwritten it, and there is a time after we've overwritten it, okay, with 11, or with whatever plus 1, okay, its value plus 1. Okay, so I just want you to understand that there's a time before we've added 1 and a time after we've added 1. Okay, and the only difference between putting the plus plus before and the plus plus after is whether we return number 1 before or after 1 has been added to it. Okay, so let me do this. If I create, so let's say this is int x equals 10. Alright, int x equals 10. Okay, I'm going to create another variable, int y equals, and I'm just going to make it x for now. Okay, so now you agree, hopefully you understand what equals means by now. So the thing on the right, x, its value is 10, it's being saved into the thing on the left, y. Okay, so when I print out y, currently we get 10. Okay, and if I change the value of x to like 8 or something, y's value will also change. Okay, so we're just taking x and saving it in y. Alright, if I save x plus 1, okay, we get 11, right? We get 11. Not super complicated, right? It would be the same as if I said 1 plus x. Okay, I also get 11. Okay. Now, when we do this, the other thing I want you to notice is that here, x's value is not changing. Okay, x's value is not changing. So if I say int y equals x plus 1, okay, we take the thing on the right, x plus 1, and we save it into y. Okay? So only y's value is being updated. Okay? X is never overwritten. X is never on the left of an equal sign. Okay? But what this fancy operator does is it adds 1 to x. Okay, so let me show you like this. Okay, so we have int x equals 10, int y equals x. I print out x and y. We get 10, 10. Okay. If I say int y equals x plus plus, okay, this plus plus, that operator, it adds 1 to its arguments. Okay, it adds 1 to x. Alright, so if I print this out now, okay, x's value will be whatever x was before, 10 plus 1. Okay, x's value will be 11. Okay, so you see it prints out 11, 10. It updated x's value. It hasn't updated y's yet. Yeah, there's no plus plus plus. The argument is plus plus. Okay, it adds 1, but there's something special about it. Okay, there is no plus plus plus. This is just, there's only a plus plus. Okay, and it just adds 1. That's all it does. Don't worry about the reason why this exists yet. You don't have to give it its purpose or anything. For now, we're just understanding what this plus plus does. Okay, and it just adds 1. But there is some other considerations. So, like, watch carefully what's happening here. Okay. So, watch carefully what's happening here, right? Int x equals 10. Okay. Int y equals x plus plus. Okay. When I print out x, x's value has become 11. Okay. But y's value is still 10. Okay. You see it printed out 11, 10. Y's value was still 10. Okay, that's what I want you to appreciate here. Okay, when I said x plus plus, it took x before it had been overwritten, before it had added 1 to x. Okay, and it saved that in y. Okay, it took x, the thing on the right, and saved it in y. So y was 10. Y became 10. And then it went and added 1 to x. Then that operator worked. Okay. Then it said, okay, plus plus add 1 to x. Okay. Now remember, we said this plus plus operator, it has 1 argument, but that argument can be on the left or the right. Right. So here the argument was on the left. Okay. What happens if I move the plus plus to the left? So now the argument is on the right. It still only has 1 argument, the x, but now that x is on the right. So now what happens? Okay, now you see it prints 11, 11. Okay, so x's value was updated by 1, so it made 10, 11, but this time y's value also became 11. Okay, remember last time y was still 10. Okay, so what has happened here? This time we created, it said int x, okay, created a variable x. It took the thing on the right, the 10, and it saved it in x. Okay, we went to the next line, we created another variable, int y. Okay, now it took the thing on the right. Alright, last time that was 10. Okay, but what happened this time? This time it sees the plus plus first. Okay, so it sees the plus plus and it goes, okay, I need to add 1 to whatever my argument is. Okay, so it added 1 to x, alright, made x 11, and then it returned x. Okay, when x was on the left, you see y's value was 10, so it returned x, which was 10, and then added 1 to x. But when x is on the right, it added 1 to x and then returned x. Okay, so that's the only difference between plus plus x and x plus plus. Okay, and you can use any variable you want. Right, you just have to think about it. Okay, hopefully you guys are comfortable with this operator now. Okay, and now there was this last operator, right, the ternary operator, question mark colon. Now, question mark colon, there is exactly one question that I want you to be able to ask about question mark colon. We'll go through it more some other time. We don't have the time right now because I want to take a break and then I'm going to give out the test, and that will take us to the end of the lesson probably. So there is, you've seen this question, you saw the question last week. When I ask you the question, what is the only operator that takes 3 arguments? Okay, you must just be able to say ternary. Okay, for now we don't have to think about why this exists. I have shown you before. I'm going to give you a Google Forms and you're just going to go online and write it. Okay, it's not super difficult. It's quite self-explanatory. You'll just fill in the Google form. Yeah, and then I'll be told about what marks you get some other time. You don't have to hand it in. You just submit the Google form and everything will be done automatically. You'll be given your mark instantly, and I'll be given your mark probably on Saturday or something. Alright, so how much is it out of? It's out of 27, I think. 27. There's 17 questions though, and it should take you about 45 minutes to finish. So wait, that's a good example. That there, 21 greater than 27, what would that return? If I used that operator on 21 greater than, if I used that greater than operator, yes, good job Teddy, that's correct. That would return false. Why? Because 21 is not greater than 27, right? Okay. At least I know one person got it. Okay, those are the okay, 2 people. Great, good stuff. Okay, so those are the operators. Yeah, you see, Yagami Light. It's not common sense in a way, because that's what I assumed coming into the course, right? All right. So hopefully we're comfortable with operators now. And when I ask you the question, which is the only operator that takes 3 arguments, you just have to be able to say ternary operator. Okay, ternary operator. For now, you do actually know what it does, right? It replaces an if statement. Instead of an if statement, you can use the ternary operator, but we don't need to explore that anymore. Okay, the only question that you will ever be asked about it is, yeah, exactly. You can do an if statement in one line with it. Alright, so let's take a like 10, because it's probably more convenient, 12-minute break. Okay, so actually, yeah, let's just do 10-minute break. So come back at 3:09. Alright, and then I'll give you the link to the Google Forms and you can just write it up. Alright, and so some of the questions, all of the questions should be easy for you. Okay, I'm telling you from last week's test when we went through it. Okay, from that test we went through last week. Oh, big thing to remember, guys. Well, just come back at 3:10. Okay, come back at 3:10. But big thing to remember, guys. C# knows and applies BODMAS. Okay, big thing. Yes, we'll start the test like right now. You'll finish it today as well. In 10 minutes. In literally 10 minutes we'll start it. Don't worry though, it's quite fun actually. But from the test we went through in last week's lecture, you should 100, like all of these questions you've seen before. Okay. The wording has changed. It might be a little bit difficult, but just be patient, work through it slowly. You essentially have infinite time. Okay, you've got plenty of time to write through it, like 45 minutes to an hour, basically. Well, 50 minutes, because you should finish before the end of the lecture, obviously. I tried having 2 main methods in one class, but it didn't work. Yeah, because the computer would get confused, right? It starts in the main method. Right? It starts in the main method. So when it goes... I mean, think about it in terms of the word main, right? Yeah, cheers. You get water. I'm going to go get water soon as well. But yeah, Jones, think about it in the terms of the word main. What like, think about it in another context. Can you have two main squeezers, for example? No. No, of course not. It would break. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna go get some water. And I'll see you guys at 3:10. Okay. Still, it needs to have a specified place to start running. Think about it as like one main method per project. How can you have two different methods in two different methods? Just you can either put them in the same class, so like you'll have a main method, and then you can have like a run method and a walk method inside all in one class, and or you can, but this is section 2. This is section 2. Chapter 2, or yeah, section 2, object-oriented programming. So we'll discuss all that stuff, but you don't need to know that for chapter 1 work. It's a bit much to get into in the next 6 minutes, I think. But you'll always have one main method. There must be a very specific place where the code runs from. What are you using to program? Are you programming in Visual Studio? Yeah, Visual Studio sucks, honestly. It's so silly. It's gigantic, right? It's got like, it's 600 megabytes or something for a text editor, basically, glorified text editor. It's because the C++ is much more space efficient. Well, just better in general. C Sharp's only nice because it's good for Unity. Yeah. I mean, people are using Unreal now. Yeah, Unreal Engine 4. It's nicer. But like yeah, but I only know. Yeah. Well, also just ray tracing and stuff in general. And Unreal Engine is just much easier because it's all like block based. But whatever. Was your... You must, I don't know, make it static maybe? Your other method, make sure it's static. So it has public, static, some... Is it void? Is it void? And then the name of the method. Okay, you can show us next time. But we'll go through methods in more detail next week. And how classes work and all that stuff. And what the word static means. I mean, I can show you now something that'll work. So look, we're in a class here. Ooh, actually this might be a nice way to show it. So I'll say static int add one takes in int x, return x plus plus. Okay, so now I'll say int x equals 9, console.writeLine add 1 to x. Okay, there we go. So I've now got a class, and my class has 2 methods. When I run it, now notice it doesn't add 1. Why? Because this is being returned before I add 1. Right? X is being returned before I add 1. If I move my operator to the left, it now adds 1 and then returns. And so now this method, you just give it an integer and it will add 1 to it. Okay. So I don't know what's different about your method compared to mine. If it's void, then it doesn't have to return anything. But this does work. Okay. Anyway, cool, it's been 10 minutes. Let's start the test. Alright, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, so, guys, there's only like 17 questions. All of the questions you have seen before, okay, basically. Or you haven't seen the exact questions, obviously, but they're only slightly different. If you take your time, really think about what you've learned, particularly in the loop questions. Really think about how the loop is operating, okay? Think about what the question is asking, right? We've got these four different repetition structures, okay? What is the difference between a while loop and a do-while loop, guys? Do you remember? Nothing happens if you fail. The test doesn't count for marks. It's just to gauge what you're struggling with. So, yeah. Does anyone remember the difference between a while loop and a do-while loop? Anyone? Has the condition? Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Where's the condition in the while loop, the do-while loop? At the end. Okay, cool. At the end. It won't check it until it gets to the end, after the do. Okay, cool. I think you guys are ready. Let me copy the link. Let me also make sure the link still works. It does. Fantastic. Okay, that is the link to the Google Forms. It's very self-explanatory. You'll see there's 17 questions. Please don't rush. Think about the answer to each question. Just because it's a multiple choice test doesn't mean it's easy. And yeah, basically everything you should be comfortable with. And if you have any questions not directly related to the answers in the test, I'll be able to I can answer those, but obviously you can't ask what is the answer to this question. I can't answer that. And I think question 16 maybe is a bit tough, but try to think about what concepts we have learned, okay, that look kind of familiar. Okay, so like look at the variable names in question 16, but don't go to question 16 yet because it might make you panic. So just go through the test one by one. Okay. Alright. But yeah, think about question 16 more conceptually. Don't try to go through the flow chart step by step by step. It would be crazy. Anyway. Yeah, good luck guys. And yeah, this will bring us to the end of the lesson. You should finish at about 4 o'clock. Don't worry if you don't. Remember that there's no incentive to cheat because the marks don't count for anything. So write the test honestly because it'll give us a better idea of what it is you're struggling with. Okay. But also, do not rush. Read every single word in every single question. No, I guess not. Just give the name that we know, so that we know who you are. Or actually, I mean, it might be best, maybe, I don't know, never mind. Put whatever you want. As long as I know who you are, like relative to this. You could I suppose put it's just fofo inside brackets or something. Maybe, I don't know. Doesn't matter, it's more to gauge generally how the class is performing. Okay, so yeah. Good luck guys. I'll stay on, I'll keep the call open and stuff even though we will be doing this till the end of the lesson. yeah, and next week we'll just go through the test and try to particularly focus on what it is you guys think you're struggling on. But be patient, read every single word in every single question, please. Don't make dumb mistakes. Dappe, have you already finished the test? Yeesh. You rushed hugely though. You finished in 15 minutes. That's faster than I would finish. You need to write down the questions as well. Yeah, you finished faster than I would finish, honestly. 15 minutes. Okay, well, I guess you're free for the next 35 minutes, so that's one advantage. Yeah, 5 out of 27 isn't too good. Don't worry though, we'll work on it. It's very similar to the test we did last week. Together. Ooh, oh wait, could you even hear that? Ah, wait, sillily I put my microphone off so you wouldn't have heard everything that I said. So Dappe, you've already finished. You finished faster than I would finish, you know that. 15 minutes. Yeah, you shouldn't be. It's only been 15 minutes. You've used 1/3 of your time. I mean, you must remember, like, the questions do require... You must think about them. Okay? You must think about them. Like, actually write them out and actually think about what you're reading. Because, like, even though it is a multiple choice test, like, that doesn't just mean you can get through every single question in like a minute. You finished each question in less than a minute. How can you even read a while loop in less than that? It's okay. But yeah, it's very similar to the test we did last week, guys, but you must think about the questions and try to work through them deductively, you know? So remove certain questions. Did you finish now as well, Taddy? How did you finish so quickly? Guys, the programming questions you must write them out, work them out. You could even code them up in .NET Fiddle or something, because there would be nothing stopping you from doing that. But I don't know how you could get through the coding question in less than a minute. That's very quickly. Ah. Because it is very similar to the test we did last week. Very similar. In fact, I think you could probably find the same questions at some parts. But yeah, take it slowly, guys. I said, don't rush. Read out the entire question. Don't panic. Write out parts that you know. Like, most of each question is irrelevant, and you just work through it deductively. Oh, you weren't here last week, I guess. But did you watch the video from last week? Well, yeah, you finished very early, Dape, so we're not going to be doing anything for the rest of the lesson, probably. We're going over this test next week. I mean, there's no way to tell if you're cheating here. You can just do what you want to do to answer the questions. It's more to see if you're struggling. But coding them up, I would definitely prefer to just guessing, because I don't think you guys would have gone through the while loop question, because I don't think you could do that in the amount of time that you had. You can go now, I suppose. Yeah, and we'll just go over the test next week. Cheers. No, don't worry about it too much. As soon as you submit your test, you get your marks back. It's just I will only get your marks on Saturday or something after everything's been processed. But again, don't rush, and feel free to go through the questions again. You still have a lot of time. Remember, I budgeted 45 minutes for you to finish this test. It's only been like 20. Okay, you must... Okay, cool. Cheers. So really, guys, take your time. Oof. Yeah, that's quite bad. But you finished very quickly. I don't understand. How did you go through a coding? How can you tell how fast a while loop? How many times a while loop runs? Did you guess or something? Well done, Teddy. That's good. Yeah, decent. Yeah. You mustn't, because you know what a while loop is. We've gone through lots of examples of them. Like that kind of question you should be able to get. But you need to spend the time, right? You can't just eyeball it. You must count. Or do the maths, 5 minus 0 or whatever. But they do try to trick you in these tests, right? Yeah, like a lot of the questions are much easier than you think they are. The ones with the lines, what do you mean? But we'll go through the whole test together next week, so if there's ones that you're particularly worried about. Ones that ask about lines. Oh, right, like the while loop one. But again, that's the type of question you must write out. Like, write out the whole thing. And see, like, okay, if I changed it in this way, what would happen? If I changed it in this way, what would happen? And eventually you'll conclude, like, there's only one sensible answer. But don't worry too much. It's your first mock test. Oh, Tuddy, congrats! You got a 70%, pretty much on the dot. So that would have passed you in the final exam. Well done. That's good news. Yeah. Is there a way? Well, yeah, you can just open the link again and submit again. But I think they'll only send me your final mark, your first mark. They'll only send me your first mark. But I mean, if it'll make you, but do it as many times as you like. I think the form is there for you. Yeah, cheers, Teddy. Yeah, you could do that, I guess. Cool. Cheers, Bryn. How did you go? How did you do? You don't have to give your actual mark, but just so that I can generally gauge. Good, bad, okay. Not that great. Did you pass? Taking 50 as a pass. Oof. Okay. Don't worry, we'll go through it next week. Cool. Cool. More reasonable time. How'd you do? Well then, what do you think you got wrong? What did you struggle with? Okay, yeah, that's expected. They do put a lot of stuff in those questions that doesn't matter. And so like training your brain to ignore most of the words is half the battle, I think. More than half the battle. So those questions had a lot of stuff about databases and stuff. And you just have to learn to ignore all of that information and just see what they're asking you about what you know about the try, catch, find these statements. But yeah, those ones will be tough because we haven't covered them much. And the loop stuff, were you okay on that? Good stuff. That's those 4 repetition structures. Those are the main for chapter 1. And also variables, obviously. Loops are also probably the hardest bit, at least I'd say, logically. The rest of the stuff is more just memorizing definitions and sort of theoretical concepts. Cool, 10 minutes left. If you guys have any questions, then now would be the time to ask them. And also Jack Jones, maybe time to start finishing up. But yeah, still take your time. I suppose you could write until after the lesson's done as well. And taking your time is probably better, I'd say. But how's it coming for now? If you wouldn't mind posting where you are and how you're doing. One left. Awesome. Yeah, I imagine, was it question 16 that was taking long? Because, yeah, that one I'd expect to take, yeah, quite a while. Ah, okay, sick. Yeah. Remember what I said about that one, though. Try to think about what concepts we've learned. Okay. And connect them with the variable names that you can see in the flowchart. Because they do kind of give you a hint. So think about, what that loop is doing, what direction it's going in, things like that. Yeah. What could the loop be referring to? I think you are allowed calculators. I don't think you would ever use them necessarily. But yeah, hypothetically. You would be allowed calculators. You wouldn't be allowed .NET Fiddle and things like that. You won't be allowed to program in the final test. But none of the questions are complicated enough to justify programming anyway. But you will be given a piece of paper that you can do working out on. And yeah, that can be very helpful, especially in the programming questions. You should definitely write them out and try to get an idea of what the code is doing, rather than just sort of eyeballing it and guessing. So yeah, piece of paper is the best friend in a multiple choice test like this, because it's easy to make mistakes on these weirdly worded questions. Particularly in this Google Forms, they didn't use the proper coding markdown, so it's difficult to see what the code means. Best to write it out. You switch a bunch of code qualities. What do you mean? Don't worry about it. I mean, so your mark will still be reported if you're writing under a different name. So I'll still see what your new mark is. Confused between 4 and 4 each. Well, if you go think about the previous lectures, they're very different, right? What do we use a 4 each for? Particularly. Now, so you finished now. Jones. Yeah, we use a for each for arrays, right? So we would say something like for each x in numbers, right? Int x in numbers. So that's very different from a normal for loop where we would have something like int x equals 0, you know, x something, x less than something, x plus plus. They're very different structures. So basically, in a question where it says, would we use an array for? We're using an array for a collection. I mean, we're using a repetition structure for a collection, or we're iterating over a list, anything like that. Then you should know instantly that it's for each if they're speaking about arrays, lists, or collections. But if they're speaking about anything else, like just a general structure that's good for a loop with a fixed ending, then you're thinking normal for loop. If there's no mention of collections or arrays, then you can't be using a for each loop. But how did you do, Jones? What? You don't have to give your actual mark, but just generally. Catch boxes catch exceptions. 16. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. You passed. That's good. Well over 50. So catches catch exceptions. They catch errors, but we close connections and we clean up inside a finally block. Okay, so try some code to try. Catch what errors you want to catch and what you want to do when you catch those errors, and finally is where we do all our cleanup and closing connections and disposing of objects and all of these kinds of things, cleaning up memory. That all happens in finally. So yeah, the answer to that question was finally. 16's not bad though. You thought of it so differently. Okay, maybe we can revise the try-catch next time. But we'll go through the whole test together next time anyway, so it's bound to come up. Cool. Okay, so Ada, Taddy, and you did quite okay. And it looks like the other... How many? There would be 4 other people, right? Or 5 other people. Didn't do so great. Okay, well, we'll revise next time and see what questions we can improve on, and just generally start going more slowly, I think. Okay, yeah, guys, so it's 4, so that brings us to the end of today's lesson. I'll see you guys next week at 2 again, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week, stay safe, cheers. And I'll post the video on the group as usual. Wait, and who was asking? They say I must repost the links to the old videos as well. I can do that too. Maybe it's someone who only recently joined the group. Although I'd wonder how they even found out about these lectures in the first place if they weren't on the group. Cool. Okay. Cheers. Should I assign a host? Yeah, I suppose so, in case you guys want to keep chatting, I don't know. Cool. Alright.